Okay, so today I want to talk to you about something that's very near and dear to my heart. Doctor Who.
You should know sunshine, you brighten my day. The world gets so dark, love, when you go away.
Surprising, right? Specifically, I wanted to talk to you about getting your friends into Doctor Who, because honestly, if you haven't already, you probably should. Having gotten a few people into the show myself, I've learned a few things that really do help and a lot of things that really, really don't. So I'm going to share them with you in the hopes that you will also be helped. Don't start with the 9th Doctor. Now don't get me wrong, the 9th is fantastic. He says so himself plenty of times. But it's really not a good idea to start a potential Whovian with him. When Russell T Davies rebooted the series in 2005, there was a lot of question as to whether or not anyone could bring such an iconic show back from the metaphorical dead. I mean, it had been at least 20 years. As a result, the first series didn't have very much of a high budget, so it's a lot heavier on the old Doctor Who's kind of campy style that doesn't sit well with a lot of American audiences or a lot of modern audiences in general. Now, modern sci-fi audiences have come to expect better, well, everything than Series 1 seemed to have to offer, particularly in terms of special effects and the like. Now, the story and writing in general is still absolutely top-notch. Okay, the farting green aliens were a little bit much. Seriously, Russell T Davies? And once you have your friends into the show, I wholeheartedly recommend going back and watching the first series. But it's not the best way to get someone hooked, especially with the weird flare effect they used on everything. Why is Rose glowing in the pilot? I don't think we'll ever know. One of the episodes that's become legendary in its own right is the Series 4 episode Blink, and for very good reasons. Because it reminded us all that we can't trust statues. Because of its unique storytelling style, the whole amazing idea of weeping angels, and the general writing of the episode are absolutely fantastic and fantastical. And those are reasons why it shouldn't be the average potential Whovian's first episode. For an episode of Doctor Who, the Doctor plays a fairly small, albeit important role in the whole story. It's more focused on the one-time kind of companion of the episode, which could be really misleading if those are all the things that someone happens to like about the episode. It doesn't follow a typical Doctor Who episode formula, and therefore I really think... excuse me. Do you have a question?
Well, actually,
Yes, bad accent me.
you've been doing an awful lot of telling us what we can't do. Why don't you go over some of the things that we can?
I was literally about to do that. There are a lot of episodes that are story-heavy once you get into it, but there are still a lot of solid standalone episodes that'll get people into the show without ruining some of the major plot points for them. My personal suggestions would be, and this is just off the top of my head, Series 4, Episode 2, The Fires of Pompeii. This is the second episode with Donna Noble as an actual companion, and it's pretty disconnected from anything else in this series' story. It even has some off-the-cuff explaining of why Donna can understand Latin after spending some time in the TARDIS, and it's generally a fun episode to watch.
Aren't Americans all about action and, explosions and stuff?
Excuse me? Is Pompeii erupting not enough explosion for you?
Well, no, but I was just trying to see if there might be something a little bit more action-y for those who like it. No need to get all snippy.
Action-oriented. Well, there's Series 2, Episode 2, Tooth and Claw, I think is what it's called. It revolves around a werewolf trying to bite and possibly kill Queen Victoria. That's pretty action-oriented, and it has a couple of nice jokes, and the bonus of explaining the origin of Torchwood, which seems trivial at the time, but might just be something that'll get your friend or friends interested in the show. Especially if your friend is backwards and already watches Torchwood.
Orgies! You seem to be talking an awful lot about the 10th Doctor, and that's perfect, that's totally brilliant, except, what about Matt Smith?
See, that's a little harder. The 11th Doctor's episodes are overall more storyline-oriented, so there are fewer to choose from in terms of standalones, or something that won't require a lot of peanut gallery explanations. A good one is probably, again, episode 2, but this time of series 5. This is the 11th Doctor's first series. The Beast Below is funny and engaging, and it gives a solid glimpse at who the 11th Doctor is without, well, you know.
Know what?
Spoilers.
Right. Is that going to be all?
Well, I guess the last tip I can give is to know when to leave well enough alone. Doctor Who is a fantastic, brilliant series, but it's not for everyone. And if your friends don't like it, make better friends. No, I'm kidding. Just, let them well enough alone.
God blimey, I might as well just go ahead and get myself a cup of tea and forget all about this. Pip pip cheerio and all that.
Well, that was just offensive.
Just for the chance to stand in your light.
So for all of the 9th Doctor fans out there, I just want to add on that if that's the Doctor that you'd really like to introduce your new Whovian friends to, I would suggest that you start them off with the Dalek episode, the one where they introduce Daleks into the 2005 reboot. They delve a little bit into the Doctor's past without getting too crazy. The special effects isn't all CGI, it's more guy in a suit and, the Dalek. And it's overall a very enjoyable episode. It's one that's fairly relatable and isn't particularly camp. Actually, it's not camp at all. So, yeah. I'd throw that in there too.